Okie dokie. Oh, not that one. This one. Hey, there we go. Hey everybody, welcome to Late Night IMBA Discussions. It's not late night for me, but it's late night for good buddy O'Murder here. He's going to be staying up late, and hopefully we'll have Wigan very soon. I'm not actually sure exactly where he is, but hopefully he'll rock up and join the call, because we'll definitely need him for the last replay that we want to look at. Otherwise it's going to be a bit of fun for us to have a look at it without extensive TvT knowledge, but still, we'll give it a shot.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, so joining me, my number one right here is Mr. MLG O'Murder. How you doing?
Doing well, man. It's been a while since we've done a show, so
It
I'm
is.
excited to be back.
It certainly is. We've been a while. We've just been a bit caught up with you guys doing things, me doing things, and obviously the time difference makes it a little bit annoying as well, especially with the shift through daylight savings now.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully I'm thinking next week I might be able to do it an hour earlier just to make it a little bit better. But yeah, and also for those of you playing at home, you can, of course, if the stream gets a little bit laggy or anything like that, I'm going to be recording this locally and then uploading it to YouTube instead of uploading from my Twitch account, so the quality will actually look a bit better also on YouTube. So if you want to do that, you can also watch it there. As I said, we're not going to have Wigan just for the moment. We're going to be just doing it without him, but it is a starting off. We're going to be looking specifically at a Protoss point of view, taking a third base and how you can do it. And of course, our first little matchup. I don't know if any of you went on and saw the little link I had in Google Docs, but it's going to be. This is going to be taking a third before you get a cybernetic score. So we're going to have a look at Flatline. There was a post on Team Liquid about this one. So what are your initial thoughts about it?
About just taking a third in PvZ in general?
Yeah, in
Or,
general, just in general, taking a third in general for PvZ.
I think there are two ways to do it. I think you either have to do it super fast, like at the 7-minute-ish mark, and then follow that. The way I've been following that up is with Robo, and I think it's like really the only way to go. The other way to do it is to do like a really big 2-base timing that's really sentry heavy and just try and do as much damage as you can and take it behind that. But personally, I'm more of a fan of taking a super fast third these days. I think you can get that Nexus down in around 7 minutes when Zergs are still trying to drone.
Yep.
And if they try and counter attack you like immediately at like the 8-minute mark, they'll be stuck on like 50 drones forever. And if you survive their push, you're just gonna win the game.
Yep. Yep. Because I mean, in general, taking the Roach Warren that's meant to be at around 8 minutes or so, isn't it?
You
Like
put
normally?
the Roach Warren down. Yeah, you put the Roach Warren down at 7. I think it has a 60-second build time. I'm not actually positive about that.
Yep.
Let me see if I can actually find it in this. It's 55-second build time, yeah. So yeah, the Roach Warren finishes at like 8 minutes, and generally what you want to do there is make like 5 roaches to stop any +1 zealot attacks, and then make about 7 or 8 more drones, and then start just massing the roaches. But if they try and like kill your third immediately by just as soon as the Roach Warren finishes, send a bunch of stuff over there, then they're stuck at like that 50-ish drone mark, which they don't want to stay out for very long.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Let's get started with this one. You're at 0 and good to go.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Alright, so starting up the top left-hand side of Shakuris, of course, one of the older maps in the map pool now, is Flatline. He's part of a clan, but I can't actually remember which one it is. But yeah, this is, pretty sure this is, I think this is mid or high masters or getting into grandmaster. I don't actually know exactly, but I know it's better than me, so that's enough for me. And down in the bottom right is Joip, the red Zerg down the bottom here. Yeah, so this map, how do we feel about fast expanding here? Of course, Tyler, aka Noni, is someone who, even on this map where it's very easy to take the Forge fast expand, will still always do a 1 base. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I don't like going gateway expanding in Zerg ever. And on this map especially, it's really good to take a fast third. You can either go down to like the other natural, which is really easy to wall off, and you can kind of just defend that with a few sentries and cannons.
Yep.
Or you can take the low ground base and still, there's a lot of SimCity you can do. You can like SimCity that choke by the watchtower really easily, and kind of defend there. So both of those are viable options. I kind of actually like taking the low ground one better.
Me too.
Because then you break down the rocks and then you can take that fourth base, especially in cross positions.
Yeah, definitely in these spots. I feel as though in either position, like if you're close horizontal or close cross, I still feel as though taking that low ground position is much. Oh, sorry, we'll do it. It's over here. The low ground position is much better than taking the third, because while the third can be a little bit easy to secure with just like a couple of gates blocking off the ramp and then, you know, a couple of cannons, it's still quite far away. So if the cannons go down, or if, you know, something comes in the back where you only may have like one cannon protecting the mineral line, you're gonna have a lot of trouble.
Yep.
So I just feel as though having your forces closer is a little bit nicer than having a possibly more secure base. So that's just the logic I take into that. And as you said, getting that fourth is very easy. Just bust down these rocks, jump up to the high ground, put a couple of cannons on the other rocks to protect that side, and then you're golden. So you're on 4 bases, and everyone loves that. So
yes.
But yeah, starting out here, we've got Flatline with the forge, the Nexus going up after that, and the gate. Looks as if he's going to just get one cannon here in a nice little spot. Lots of people switching over to this newer style of walling in now as well, where you basically don't actually do a full wall. You do the sort of the pylon at the other edge of the ramp to keep that one space there. Obviously, a lot better to do that if you can.
Yeah, I don't ever fully wall in. I used to against Zerg, but I don't like having to kill a building, especially if you do like a forge, gateway, cyber core wall off. You have to kill a really important building to get out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And this is fine. I mean, in an emergency, you can like throw down an extra building to fully wall off, or, you know, I mean, there's usually not going to be an emergency, especially if you see that fast third. Like, you're completely fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't ever see. I don't see the benefit to a full wall, at least not one that isn't reactionary.
Yep. And now we can see where the difference in what Flatline's done is picking up this second gate pretty quickly, just chucking that down at the bottom of the ramp. It kind of sucks that you have to put it close to where a Zerg can possibly see. But I still think it's fine to do it here anyway. Like, I mean, there's no other place. There's no pylons inside the main. So, and then what we're going to see here, which is what we're going to talk about a little bit, is getting a third base before you get a cybernetics core. Now, this was, I think it was sort of acclaimed by Sase, who was doing it a little bit. I don't know whether he specifically did it first per se, but you know, whatever.
It was against Red at the Red Bull, and it was kind of like the first televised match that I ever saw it.
Yep. So it's it's a bit of an interesting build. I think one of the key components is if your opponent gets that third. I think if you don't actually scout getting that third hatch up pretty quickly, then I think it can be a little bit. That's where it can become very risky.
Yeah, definitely.
But as we can see, Joypa's got up the third hatch here. There's no pylons around to try and warp in any cannons or anything like that. So to get your third nexus down, you obviously need to provide a little bit of pressure. And to do that, what we're going to have is an attack here with a couple of zealots. And as you can see, the +1 to weapons is just about to complete, and it's going to complete in a nice timing as well. Once these zealots get across, they should have the +1, and will be looking pretty. And behind that, we've got a nexus going up. We're going to have a pylon here that's probably going to help out with a wall to protect this sort of slightly more open base, and the zealots are going to provide the pressure. So tell us what this sort of does for the Protoss. So what the elements of this are.
Well, the goal is, like we talked about earlier, like a standard Roach Horn for Zerg is going to be at 7 minutes, and so it'll finish at 7:55, and your first Roaches will pop out at like 8:30-ish. And this attack, as you can see, hits at like 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so it's designed to get in before Zerg in their more standard play can even have roaches out.
Yep.
And Joe, how do you say his name?
Joip.
Joe IP.
Joip.
Joip. Yeah, Joip's roach one was really late. He didn't start it until like 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so he's gonna take so much damage from these zealots, and his economy is gonna be in pretty bad shape. Let me see what he's at right now. He's only at 28 drones right now. Like, he just took way too much damage from this.
Yep.
So if he does want to try and counter the fast third, then like he's gonna be completely all in trying to stop it, especially losing that hatch.
Yeah. When
But,
you're pushing out with that, what would be the goals? Would you be there to kill the drones that are there, or would you be there to just purely kill the hatchery?
No, generally you're not going to be able to kill the hatch with this attack. At least when I was working with this build for a while, I would try and kill as many drones. In fact, I wouldn't go for the third. I would go straight into the natural and just try and kill as many drones as I could, force as many lings as I could. Because that's what puts Zerg in the toughest spot. They're going to have to make a ton of units anyway, and usually lings. So if you can kill as many drones as you can while cleaning up all the lings, then you're in a really good position like he is right now.
Yep.
I'm kind of interested to see how he follows it up. Looks like he's got just a bunch of gates going down. I was going Robo, but I like this decision here because he did so much damage that the Zerg isn't really going to have the economy to do like a massive roach follow-up after this, so he can just kind of power up gateways, get sentries out, and then kind of tech up after that.
Yep. And I mean, the other thing I like about this, as you said, is with a lot of gateways, you can still get out a few sentries as well. Like the obviously the people, when you look at this build initially and you say, why is the cybernetics core so late? You have to think about the fact that you've done a lot of pressure, and because of that, you don't need to warp in units like instantly as you normally, you know, as a standard sort of thing you would be able to. You would want to warp in some sentries, some stalkers, and that sort of thing to make sure you can then move out to take the base. Whereas we're doing it the other way. We're going to do a little bit of pressure, and then come back, take the base, and then be able to follow it up with a bit more production, because you've obviously got 3 bases working away. And as we can see here from the worker count, we've got the workers here for Flatline up at 72 probes to the 50 drones. Now that, of course, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, is caused by the fact that you have to, as a Zerg, you need to get those units out to defend against any possible further zealot attacks. And then, of course, that costs you lava, and then that means that you can't get drones, and then you get stuck at this very ugly sort of position. So this is one of the main sort of big parts about doing this build, is that you have these sort of, it's not the same like a normal sort of build where you would have stages where you would say, all right, this is what I am going to counter this with. Like, you know, I'm going to counter the roaches with these immortals that I've now got here. I'm going to counter the mass lings with these sentries and the zealots. It's actually a little bit more of a thing for a Protoss, which is not something that we do often, which is sort of taking the front foot and saying, you know what, I'm going to take this base, you're going to take a little bit of pressure, and then you know, we're going to be on very even footing in a way. So
yeah.
So
and the benchmark when I was doing this build is I would have about 70 probes at 12 minutes, which Flatline got to really well.
Yep.
And at this point, I would even be taking a 4th base right now. Like, when I was doing this, I'd be taking a 4th at around 13 or 14 minutes, just because you start to pile up minerals while you tech up, because you kind of have to just blast all your tech out at once.
Yep.
After this point, like you see, he's getting Twilight Council, going up to Robotics Bay, getting a Dark Shrine too. And his gas is just going to be so starved, especially when he starts pumping out Colossi and trying to make Stalkers at the same time. So you can kind of take a 4th base at this point and even afford a few cannons to defend it.
yeah.
But
And that's also another sort of very similar part of it to playing as a Zerg, where, you know, you've got these extra minerals because you've had a bajillion workers for all this time. Why not? Let's just chuck up this 4th. You know, if it goes down, it's not too bad. You've still got a little bit to work with. You can still take it later, and not to mention you've got the army to back it up to then cover the map to then take it later as well.
Yeah, the one thing I would have really liked to see actually is a second Robo, but he decided to go Dark Shrine instead, which
No,
is
he's
cool
got
too.
it.
Like
He's got it.
oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got one at the third and then one at the natural as well next to the gas.
okay,
So
okay,
yeah.
yeah. Because what you want to do at this point in this build is you're gonna be sitting at like 140-ish supply after you max out on your probes in about 12 minutes. You'll be like 130-ish kind of supply, and you want to really power out your tech units, and so kind of do that with the two robos, and then you can sort of sprinkle in gateway units, but that'll be 30-ish supply in Colossi that you'll be pumping out. So kind of add gates, take another base while you get the tech units out,
Yep.
uh, and then you'll be in good shape.
Yep. Yep. So at this point here, this is probably where are we at 16 minutes. This is where in a normal game you would have had to definitely deal with a lot of that roach pressure. Is that still something that as a Protoss you should be worried about
At this point,
at
no.
at this
I mean,
point?
at this point, definitely not. He's got 4 Colossi, a bunch of sentries, and 2 1-ups. Like, he's in really good shape against any kind of roaches.
Yep.
And honestly, he didn't have to worry about roaches because his first zealot attack just did way too much damage. So, like, his follow-up was really, really good from that respect. I think if you don't do a ton of damage with your first zealots, then you kind of have to think about going for a robotics facility faster and getting immortals to try and deal with all the roaches. But yeah, that's a mad Zerg.
He's very mad. All right, so for everyone who's looking at that and saying, "Well, this is awesome. I'm going to take that home and just we're going to do that all day." Where are the flaws in this, or where are the sort of the weak spots that you've identified through playing with a lot? I've only, for everyone in the chat and who's looking at the VOD, I've only played with this just a little bit, and it's mainly on Metropolis, just because Metropolis seems like a great map to do it on, just because the third is so close. But you've
Yep.
played with a lot more. What do you think of where is the weakness? Is it this sort of around about the 8:30 mark, where you're sort of taking that third nexus and trying to do your harassment? Possibility of a
Yeah,
Ling counter or something like that?
Yeah, well, the number one problem with it is if it gets scouted, I don't know if there's actually a way you can defend the third nexus. Like, if they see your second gateway, or they see only the one gas in your main that's mine, just the 100 gas, they're gonna know like exactly what's coming. They're like, okay, this is a really fast +1 zealot. They speed their roach warn up a little bit, and maybe even get a spine. That's a little bit of an economic hit for Zerg again, because you're cutting into that timing where they still want to drone. But if they get like 4 or 5 roaches out, then your attack's not really going to do anything.
Yep.
And then you're in trouble, because they can drone up and about a minute later just start massing roaches, and it's just going to be really hard to defend your nexus, because you're not going to have a bunch of sentries that have been saving up energy. Like, the only thing you're going to have is cannons, and eventually roaches kind of get to a number where cannons just don't really do anything anymore.
Yep.
So you're gonna need a lot of immortals, and that's what I was going to Robo actually when my push wouldn't do a whole lot of damage, and just like trying to get up to 4 or 5 immortals super quick. But yeah, that's the tough spot. If it gets scouted, I think it's actually, this attack is really easy to stop, and then your tech is so late that I was having trouble defending like immediate roach attacks.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I think it could be a little bit of map dependence as well. Like, I probably would not try and do this on Tal'Darim Altar. That would be just a dumb idea. You also wouldn't want to do it on something like... Do you reckon oh wait, that's not in the map pool. I was about to say Shattered Temple, but that's not in the map pool anymore. Well, obviously Metropolis is good for it, but that's not going to be in the map pool anymore. Any other ideas of where you could do it and be nice and safe, Ohana?
Yeah, I think Daybreak's a good map. Could be a good map for it.
Yep.
I even think Core Hall Compound, you could do it. You would just have to start SimCitying out in that area in front of your natural with pylons earlier.
Yep.
And make a bunch of gateways at your third. And I think you could do it there. Yeah, Tal'Darim, definitely not. Those maps all seem pretty viable for it, though. Antigua Shipyard,
Prob-
maybe. It's kind of got the same issue as Core Hall, where you've got that huge area in front of your natural that you have to
yeah,
SimCity.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
so maybe there, but probably not.
I think Ohana as well, just purely because if you wall off that front bit of Ohana, then like gateway that up, put some cannons behind it, then break down the rocks, then you're at your third, and you've only realistically got one choke point to worry about. So perhaps that one as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into my teammate Nulra versus Infinity Seven's time. Also on Shakuris. Let me know when you got that.
I'm good to go.
Good to go. Just checking to see if Wigan's around. He's said the power's out. Power's still out. Damn America, when will you invent power? Alright, that's going to make the last game a little bit interesting.
Yep.
Okay, ready to go?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Alright, starting. He said he's watching through his phone because he thinks it's going to be funny for us doing a TvT. And he's going to be mad that he missed it as well because it features mech.
And it features Jinro, and I
Yeah.
know that Dave is still a little bit of a Jinro fanboy.
Exactly. Alright, so starting up at the top left side is Dream Team Gaming's Nulra. You may have seen his teammate Gandol in the GSL code A had a great little, I won't say great because it seems to be that both sides were just full of errors and that sort of thing, but to Gandalf's credit, game one was in a terrible spot and somehow came back, mainly because Boom Boom just totally forgot what infestors were. But anyway, his opponent is down here, Infinity Seven's Time, who is I believe he's one of their newer players. Like I think he only joined the team just recently, but that'll be nice for them. Yeah, so we got cross spots again. This is going to be a slightly different version of taking a third. So, as we mentioned, or as Omoto mentioned before, taking a third can be a thing where you need to go really early, and then try and get that base up really quickly, like depending on some sort of early strat with the fast nexus somehow. Or you can do, what was your other option? A lot of sentries and zealots.
Yeah, just a big 2 base push and then try to do like basically crippling damage. But even that, I don't think is very good because those builds, once they kind of fizzle out, that's when the Zerg is in like mass roach making mode and can kind of just like walk over to your base and kill you.
Yep.
So I think the fastest, like a faster third, is a lot better.
Yep.
Like something around the 7-ish minute mark. I think that's the timing window that
Yep.
you should be trying to hit.
We're going to see something here that is a little bit of a mix of both. I had a quick look at it. Nulra gave me these reps and said, "Do you want to cast these?" And I said, "Well, I'll do one of them, one of the other ones that he gave me, which is up on my channel." As you can see, a little bit of an earlier pull there. We've got a few lings out of the map. We got 6 in total. There is a probe that did not get to put the pylon down to block the hatch. So there is going to be a little bit of an issue, but there's already a cannon up and a wall can go up there as well, so not going to be too much of a problem here for time. Getting up that ramp, yeah, takes a shot.
Yep.
And
was that like a 12 pool or something?
I think that was around about a 12 or a 13, yeah. Because it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. Like the pool was pretty much done at around about 15, 16 drones. So pretty quick. He's a player who, from my experience, he was one of those players who will do that sort of thing on this sort of map where a Protoss will be known to fast expand. Nulra will just sort of take that slightly cheeky early pull and just say, you know what, if you did a really greedy fast expand, like if you went Nexus first and then went Forge Gate and didn't even save for the cannon, he'll get some damage done. So he's a player
Yep.
who loves to do that sort of thing. But as we can see, it doesn't really do that much damage to the economy. Like, I mean, he's still just powering up those drones at the moment. Got another 4 on the way. He'll be at 28 in just a moment. So it's not too much of a problem.
Whoa, that's a really quick 4 gas, man. That is super, super quick.
Yep.
So I'm guessing what he's gonna do is like, because that's even too quick to go some kind of tech. I'm guessing that's just gonna be like infinity sentries and take his third. I mean, we'll have to see, but just yeah, the third and fourth gas are super, super fast there.
Yeah, goes a bit crazy. Even I, like, with those DT openings that I still do, I don't get the gas that early. You can get them close, like just around about now, but not this early. Yeah, so drone count starting to look better and better as the seconds fly by. Of course, playing Zerg is a hard thing to do. You have to press SD a lot, and then you press SR. Then you put 4 drones in one of your extractors, the one on the right in the main base. Don't know what's going on with that.
Nice.
It's pretty clever.
Yes. It's the new metagame, I think.
Hey,
Overmining your extractors.
remember, on Metalopolis, on the top right spawn, one of those geysers actually needs 4 to make it totally efficient.
Yes.
That's true, that's
Yes,
true.
that's true. Oh god, I'm so glad that map is gone, man. So glad.
Wait, is it gone? I thought it was just like, you can actually now veto it, because there aren't that many shit
Well,
maps.
Well, it's pretty much gone from the tournament scene.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really-
Yeah.
And this is something more along the lines of what I'm doing. Although I kind of just like to make the sentries out of the one gateway and slow those gases down, get the robo just a little faster. But I can kind of see what he's going to be going for here, and I think this is the safer way to take a third. I think that sentry energy is just too important to skip out on. Mid game, I think having like 10-ish sentries makes you safe from pretty much all roach pressure, as long as you get them out quick enough.
Slightly later roach warren there from Nalra, so he's not going to be too worried about any sort of early pressure just now. But did he scout that probe heading down to? No, I don't think he did, but he is going to see it anyway. That's why I don't like. That's the one big problem about taking these low ground expansions as your third, is that in PvZ, unless you have really good control of the watchtowers, like you're constantly out there reinforcing units that are sitting there, they're always going to see if you take that base, because it's just in range of the watchtower. So one slight problem with it. Just a bit of posturing here from time, just pushing out with 5 sentries and a couple of zealots, but there are going to be some roaches, so no trouble here for Nalra.
Yeah, I definitely think that Time's build needs to be refined a little bit, because he's got 400 gas right now. And I think his warp gates, yeah, he just used them. So I think he banked up a little bit too much gas. It might end up working out just for the fact that he's saving to make even more sentries, but every time I see something like 500 gas sitting around, I'm like, well, that's a little bit of an issue. Like, he could have gotten his Nexus faster and cut down on his gas income a little bit or something like that, but we'll see.
Yep. Now we've got this push coming across from Nalra. He's sensing a little bit of a different style of play here from time. Catches out some of the roaches with the sentries. As you said, very important, the sentry energy there. And having, how many is that? That's 12 sentries. That's certainly a lot to work with. Ugh.
Yeah, and
A bit
he
messy
also
on some
got
of them.
he completely skipped Observer, I think. Yeah, let's see, let me count. Yeah, no Observer. Completely skipped Observer, which is a little bit risky. You do kind of want to be able to scout if his Zerg's going up to like a really quick 6 gas, because that's more indicative of like a tech play, like faster infestors or muta.
Yep.
But this is just safer in general. Getting the Immortals out is going to help make sure you don't die to roaches, and then you can kind of try to recover if they do something else later.
Really nice force field wall here, but as you mentioned, no, the Observer was hanging around just up to the north there, and
Oh, I did listen. Okay.
oh no,
I think that
he like just got it, so that was just in time. So Nalra has decided that there's no real trouble just at the moment, but it looks as if time is going to push out. He's got 4 immortals. We got a whole bunch of sentries still. There's still, despite the fact that they've used a lot of their force fields, there's still a lot of energy available. Like, I'm pretty sure it looks as if we've got, yeah, we still got upwards of 6 force fields at least in that group there. So, possibly even more. So. He's going to push it around. He does have a little bit of a threatening presence here, but infestors are out.
Yeah, this is a pretty gutsy move out. This is something that I probably would not be trying to do. Although he did have the obs, so he can kind of keep an eye on the army. But this is a point in time where Zerg could just be like maxed on speed roaches, and if he gets a favorable engagement and you lose all those sentries, the game's like basically over.
Yep.
So it is a gutsy move out, and he does have 5 immortals, so as long as he positions his army well, he'll be in pretty good shape. But you just have to be careful moving out with an army like this at this point in the game.
Especially now that 5 infestors just popped out just after pathogen glands completed. So we've now got 6 infestors on the map with a whole bunch of energy to use, and that's going to be very scary against a very fragile army. That's the one thing that I really have an issue with massing up sentries like this, is that they're extremely fragile, and like, even though they don't actually take the bonus damage from fungal, they still will die very quickly.
Yeah, it's 2 fungals to kill a sentry, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. And here we go.
Yeah.
Looks as if he's gonna push in.
Oh no, it's 3.
No force fields at all. So, a little bit of a mess up there from time, not really being prepared for that. Perhaps not the best example of how to do this particular style, but I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, when you're using sentries like that, if you miss a wall, if you miss walling off like time just did, if you do the wall badly, and you know, leave a hole for 600 speedlings to get through, then you're still going to die. Like, it doesn't matter how many sentries you have. If you have to be really good with that. So that's just sort of the one issue I have with massing up sentries like that.
Well, here's one thing I'll say about that though. His army was in a really bad position right there. If you're doing a build like this, there's really no reason for you to be out on the map like that, like out in the middle of a wide open space. Your army is meant to defend like tight corridors. Like, if he had been back closer to like his assimilator, like that forward assimilator is 3rd, just kind of set up there, that's a much better position for him to be in. And it's a position where even if the Zerg does try to charge in and he's a little bit late on his force fields, he can kind of make up for it because he has good terrain to work with. But if you get caught out in the open like that, you're just dead. And just in general, if you're doing a fast 3rd build like this, your army probably shouldn't be out on the map anyway. You know, you should be completely defending your economy, and then while you tech up, because like right there he was teching up all the way up to Templar, maybe get a Warp Prism or something if you want to try and do some pressure, but you should just be 100% defending at this point, trying to max, and maybe start moving out once your tech units are out. Like, if you get 4 Templar with Storm or a couple Colossi, then you can start kind of going out on the map. But this is a point in the game where Zerg just has such an army advantage that you can't really fight them straight up.
Yep. Alrighty. So that's that replay. Let's have a look at TvT. I'm sure Wigan would love to post some pro tips in the chat if we mentioned something wrong as well. But
yes.
Okay, so Ohana. We're going to be talking just mainly about the map and using actually, sorry, just this map in general in TvT. Like, we've seen a lot of it lately. It was used at it's used at DreamHack. It was used at MLG Arena? I can't remember.
Ohana? No.
No. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
But Yeah, it's an interesting map. As we said when we're talking about Protoss taking a third, it can be really nice for taking a third. You just got to knock down these rocks,
Mhm.
wall up the front here, and then you've really only got to defend this sort of one position here, which can be done again by just sort of walling off with a bunch of pylons and gateways, that sort of thing, and just doing some really good positioning. So. And
Yep.
what we're going to look at here is TvT in terms of how this can play out at a pretty high level. We're on the Korean server as well, so Silhouette is a Korean player. If you want to start the game in 3, 2, 1, go. Zed Silhouette down the bottom right hand side here in the red. And we've got Liquid Jinro up the top left hand side in the blue. Um, yeah. So I've only I've been playing. I got to admit, I've been playing random lately on the C server just because I don't know why, but I just because I can. Um, and yeah, this is one where you can do as Wigan said, it's a tall and thin map, a little bit like the old Jungle Basin and what's that other one? That terrible map, Crossfire. Where it's pretty thin, so you can sort of zone off certain areas of the map, like you can, like in the same way that a Protoss would sort of wall off here and sort of protect this area, you do the same sort of thing here, but just, add in some tanks, some turrets, and do the same thing along here. You've got a 3 base, and then you can sit there on 3 bases and just say, come at me, bro. So
Yep. The one thing about Ohana is the bottom of the main, or top, depending on which main you're looking at. It's a pretty large amount of space to cover against drop.
yep.
So I think dropping straight into the main would be like something a bio player would definitely want to do on this map against mech. Also because they're going to have a lot of tanks spread all the way down to the third, and it's kind of hard to wriggle them or whatever units you have all the way down from the third back up that narrow ramp back into your main. So yeah, you'd need really good turret coverage on this big wide open area of the main. But if you defend against that, I think this is definitely a good map for mech. The center is a little bit. There are some good positions you can take, especially at the watchtowers. Lots of choke points, and use like those line of sight blockers there in the middle too to protect your tanks a lot. So in general, yeah, I think this is definitely a map that could work for mech TvT.
Yeah, like I think, of course, Tosis is the one who is always on and on about mech, and I can totally agree on this map that it would just be, really good for it, just because of that easy third, the potentially easy fourth as well. Like as you mentioned regarding the line of sight blockers, they're absolutely everywhere on this map. You've got them at the fourth here, or Jinro's fourth, potential fourth along this side. You've got them in the middle, in this sort of interesting area. I don't know if this would really become a big issue. This sort of spot between the two watchtowers, between the grass. Like, I mean, what's going to happen there if you don't have the watchtowers? Why would you walk in there anyway? But I suppose you could put some
It's
tanks
just a
in there
good,
and that sort of thing.
yeah, it's a good place to put like a tank or two at least, to watch for flanks and just cover your army in a position that like really can't be attacked. So it's always a good thing if you're going mech. You don't want your tanks in a position where they can just get straight up attacked. You want to position them either behind other units or use the terrain as best you can to just sort of protect them.
We've got one racks expand from both players, as we can see here. Silhouette bouncing around, getting up a couple of extra racks and the gas, of course. Meanwhile, for Jinro, he's got one factory coming up already, so he's obviously going to be our player doing mech in this particular circumstance. And he's had his gas for quite a while because, of course, as anyone will know, you need to get a lot of gas for mech play. And it looks as if he is going to go for a double Hellion style just to open up here. Do you reckon that's sort of the best way to open with a mech style if you're going to be in a TvT like this?
Yeah, I would. I mean, again, I don't play TvT very often, but this is how I would do it. You just need to make sure that you get a good scan off, I think, or a good scout, and make sure you have something to deal with uh, like Cloak Banshee if that comes in, because he's not going to be building an eBay, at least anytime soon, for quick upgrades or anything like that. So you just need to make sure that you're safe against Cloak Banshee, and then the Hellions will just give you a lot of map control. I mean, he's not really going to be able to do damage with them, but he'll be able to clear off towers and kind of poke around, check his opponent's composition, stuff like that.
Yep. Some nice little micro there from Jinro. He actually pulled back one of the Hellions to get the Marine to retarget on the second Hellion. So they've actually just got a decent spread of damage there. They're good buddies. They take each other's fire. So and it looks like a couple more are going to be coming down as well. So 4 Hellions in total at the moment for Jinro. He's got Blue Flame on the way. And it looks as if we'll have a couple more Hellions as well.
The Blue Flame this fast I find actually kind of interesting, because I don't think it even... I'm not sure how much it actually helps against Marines anymore, since they nerfed it. Although I guess he can't really afford to go tanks yet. Maybe he could, but I think he should be kind of thinking at least about starting siege tank. Oh, he's going for a medevac. Okay, completely missed that. Okay, so Blue Flame drop, yeah. If you're going to go for fast Blue Flame, I definitely think you should be getting a starport with it, so you can try and do some economic damage, give you even more map control of your Hellions, because like right now, he can't just like walk up that ramp with all of his Hellions, I don't think, so he's got to try and get him into the main, into the natural, and do as much damage as he can.
Yep. So the medevac is on the way. More Hellions are still coming out. We're going to have a couple of tanks out soon too for Jinro. And looks as if he's going to, you know, get the third behind the this little bit of pressure from these Hellions as well. So got a little balance of what he's doing there from Jinro. I was going to say a little bit earlier, I'm sort of a bit surprised. Like again, I'm no expert either, but I would have thought that the 2 gas down at the natural would have been almost a straightaway thing. Is that something?
No, not if you're going for a lot of Hellions. If you're trying to get your tank and Thor count up, you definitely want to get them a little quicker, but it's General's goal this game was to do Hellion drops, lots of Hellions, so you want to stay as mineral heavy as possible, and that'll also help him get a faster third. So
Yep.
I like his approach, actually. I like his approach a lot now that I saw it all kind of come together.
Looks like he is going to get inside the main here. Had to divert the medevac for quite a while there, just to because there were some marauders, and it looks as if the marauders caught the Hellions anyway. Whoa, that was really cool. But the medevac does get away. There's a little bit of just sort of a side spot there where the Marines can not reach, so that was lucky there for Jinro. Got a Raven out, and it looks, is there a Viking as well somewhere? No, there's not. But he's going to have he's got 2 armories on the way, so we're going to be powering up those upgrades. We're going to have 3 factories in total, 1 with a reactor. And he'll be, really powering up that mech very soon. And it looks as if Silhouette's supply blocked at 78, which is a bit annoying for him.
Yep. And the Raven is definitely good. I would actually consider getting like a few Ravens. 3, maybe 4, I don't know, but because PvD is just going to help so much against Marauders. Like, Marauders are sort of the bane of a meching player because they have so much health. If you get a good surround, they can kind of just like kill everything they could just run in and kill all your tanks really, really fast. So, but at least the one Raven is good. He's going to need some detection and some air control early, and since he wants to focus on powering out his tanks right now, he needs at least the vision of something like the Raven.
Yeah. So we got upgrades from both players on the way. We've got 2-2 for the infantry weapons for Silhouette, so he's going to have that very quickly. Vehicle weapons 1 and 1 for Jinro, of course, have just started. Take a little bit longer for one. Oh no, it doesn't. I was going to say it takes a little bit longer for 1-1 mech, I think. Anyway. As Wigan has dutifully pointed out in the chat, you want 5 to 6 factories on 3 base, and then you can really start powering out that mech and get in a really good position. As you can see here, we've got a nice spread. We've got a few Hellions down here at the third. We've got 2 tanks covering a nice bit of the position here. A little bit worried about the possibility of a drop down at the back. That's one very interesting thing about this map, is the very huge presence behind the third base. There's so much both air and land space there, which could be very damaging depending on what happens. But as we can see, looks as if Silhouette is going to go for a drop. It looks like he might head into the main. Not really sure what he's doing with his medevacs just at the moment. He is going to go inside to the main, but a couple of Vikings catching out the medevacs before they can get everything out. There is one left, not actually getting realistically anything done there at all. The mech, that positioning from Genro was just beautiful. He's got tanks sort of spread out nicely. We've got 3 sort of covering this this section at the front, and then had the Vikings just coming around just in time. As you said, lots of space to drop inside the main, and he's got a couple of turrets to sort of protect all of that as well.
Yeah, and he also kept his Vikings like right there very early on, which is just so smart. Like, Jinro, he knows that is the one weakness of this map. If you're going mech, is getting like a fat drop right into your main right there. So much space to cover, so he defended it, and honestly had perfect timing on defending it as well. So
Yep.
Good by him there.
Looks as if a couple of Hellions just down at the third of Silhouette, getting a couple of SCV kills, in fact, even killing a barracks, which is a little bit interesting. Like, they killed the SCV before it was able to get the construction really going, and then just burned the rest of the building in construction down. But we've got, yeah, just Genro sort of sitting back at the moment, making quite a lot of orbital commands, making sure that he's got a lot of scans available, and the mules if need be, plus 2-2 is on the way for his mech as well. So once that kicks in, he's going to be doing so much damage with those tanks, and more turrets going up, making a huge turret ring inside the main, just so you can make sure that nothing is able to drop inside. As you said, the big weakness there of the mech is the maneuverability, and of course the huge space inside that main.
Yep. So I think at this point, Genro's in a super good position, and I think that Silhouette's command centers that he's throwing down right now, I think those actually should have gone up a while ago. Against a meching player, he's not going to be looking to leave his base like ever. At least not for the first like 15 plus minutes of the game. And as a bio player, you need to kind of abuse that fact. You need to be mass expanding, powering up a ton of racks, like 10, 12, 14 racks, and just maybe start dropping, suiciding with drops, or at least trying to trade or force the mech army out of position as best you can.
Yeah, and just looking at the factories here, we've got we're going to have 6 in total of the 3 bases. It's about to be 4 bases. I think Genro is looking to take that one, and yes, he is, with Silhouette catching out that 4th command center. Well, you know, one of the possible 4th command centers, and he's going to kill a little bit here. Genro coming back, having to defend, but there's a lot of marauders around. The tanks finally sieging up, and we'll force this back just a tiny bit. But as you said, the issue for Genro when you're playing this style is, of course, that you can't get around the map as quickly, but you can. Oh, in fact, I think we just there was quite a lot of worker kills there for Genro, but down at the bottom side. But he's now cornered some of the units inside the 4th base here. There is no way they're going to escape because the tanks are approaching. They're going to do so much damage. A point defense drone there, as you said, very nice to help defend everything from those marauders, but they do fall finally.
Yeah.
It looks as if yeah, wow, there's attacks going on all over here from Silhouette, really taking advantage of that maneuverability aspect of mech, and is able to get inside, takes out the 3rd base, stops that from mining. But Genro is now moving down the map with his 2-2, so he's going to be able to really deflect, I would say, a lot of any possible attacks from Silhouette in a front-on sort of position here.
I also really like this. I like this Banshee switch by Silhouette. Taking air control is so important in turn versus turn, and like if you can get to a point where you just have one Banshee that can't be shot at, especially by a player who's going mech, like that Banshee is just going to cause so many problems. And at the same time, I do like all the counterattacks that he's doing. You don't really want to fight this army head up or straight up, especially if it's siege. So just kind of running around the map and trying to take air control is the best thing that Silhouette can try and do in this position.
Yeah, it looks as if he's trying to keep these, trying to keep both these units alive as long as he can, and also trying to keep Jinro as occupied as he can. Because as you mentioned, down at the bottom side, we've got 3 starports here. One with a reactor pumping out Vikings, along with a couple of Banshees that are out as well. So, and +2 ship weapons is also just on the way now from Silhouette as well. Still, I've been bringing the camera back to this little position here. He's still got 1 SCV in that gas at the natural expansion. But anyway, Jinro on the warpath now. 2-2 is, as we said, that is done. 3 to weapons is also on the way for those tanks. Once they get that, they will be chewing through everything. And he is on the way down, and this is obviously getting a little bit threatening here for Silhouette.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble, and he's just kind of gambling that his air, he'll be able to take the air because he cannot fight those siege tanks anymore with a Marine Marauder army. If they're siege, there's just a 0% chance he can fight it. And now that Jinro's maxed, he's ready to just move across the map and siege up like right in the middle of one of his bases. And then, you know, what are you going to do? So
he's not even sieging. Really, that's how confident he is right now.
Yeah, and I don't see a way for Silhouette to come back in this game. Right, if he wins this Viking fight, like maybe his Banshees will be able to clean everything up, but he kind of is just not target firing them or anything. He really, really needed to win that fight. Oh, but Jinro's flying into a turret, so that's not so good.
Looks like Jinro is run out of Hellions here, so it's going to be a little bit unfortunate, but it looks as if the Banshees finally come through. They're going to do a lot of damage, although extra Hellions now coming in as well. Jinro says, you know what, screw you, I don't care about your Banshees, I'm just going to go straight for that orbital command. Takes it down in record time. Is Jinro ever going to siege up these tanks? He's just being a total champ and not even bothering about it, keeping them in pong-pong mode for the moment, taking all sorts of damage from those Banshees as well.
Yeah, but this is actually going to be, like, a huge loss for Jinro. Like, losing all these tanks is actually just, like, a huge deal. Like, this army is extremely hard to remake, even though he's got a great economy. This is exactly what Silhouette needed to get back in this game, was just killing all of these tanks. So, he's trying to make a comeback. I still don't think he can. His economy is not very good, and as a Marine Maraudering player, and I like that choice by Jinro to just kill all the tech labs. Excuse me, on the racks.
Yep.
So yeah, Jinro's in really good shape right now.
So despite those losses, Jinro currently sitting at 7 tanks, 6 Vikings and 2 Thors, which have just popped out as well. Looks as if Jinro is switching over there just to make sure he can deal with those Banshees and the Vikings as best as possible. And as we can see, he's going to have to deal with them very quickly here, because the Banshees are now starting to take down turrets, take down tanks, all sorts of things.
Yep. There's a lot of Banshees, man.
Yeah.
They do so much damage. But he can't afford to lose this air army, so it's the only thing keeping him in this game. Oh, the Thors.
Hero Thor says... Hero Thor says no to that, and that, I think that's pretty much the game there, because he's going to have a lot of trouble rebuilding that. He's got, as you said, took out the tech lab, so there's going to be no Marauders for the moment. And then the starports aren't on tech labs themselves, so he's got to find a way to get some units out. He actually switched over a couple of the racks in the main onto the tech labs again. And then also has these extra racks down the bottom left-hand side as well, which do have a couple of tech labs as well, but I think it's a little bit too little too late here.
Yeah, that air army was literally all Silhouette had. That was his only chance to kind of win this game. He's doing some nice counterattacks and stuff, which is good too. And I mean, you can still just see how much losing that mech army has set Jinro back. I mean, the standing army is just not very big at all right now. And it's going to take him another, like, seriously another 8-ish minutes if he wants to remax. Well, I guess maybe not that long, but take him another good 4 or 5 minutes to really remax that army.
I think the other big thing he's got going for him is the upgrades. He's sitting on 3 weapons with 2 armor on these Thors. So, despite the fact that the Marauders and the Marines have 3-3 themselves, he's just going to chew through them because Thors are ridiculous. And I saw something on the BattleNet forums the other day. I know that's a really scary statement to make, but someone wanted to change it so that feedback does half damage against massive units. I was like, are you serious? You cannot be serious.
People are mad about feedback on Thors, I guess.
I guess so. He must have just played a game and tried a Thor rush and someone countered him with like feedback or some shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
General wins that one, of course, with his very nice mech play here. I know Wigan is happy about that one. As I mentioned on the little plan thingy for the show, that is available in the General replay pack, which is on teamliquidpro.com. You can grab that there. There's all sorts of other stuff in there. I think there is also a game of General against Marine King in that pack, so you can have a look at that and see some MLG stuff in there as well. Oh, sorry, MLG player quality stuff in there. So, yeah. So, all right, that is that game. Just before we go, because we're just a little bit running short for time. Thoughts on DreamHack and MLG?
Dude, unfortunately, I did not get to watch like any Starcraft this weekend. I was running around. It was my dad's birthday and one of my really, really good friends' birthday, both this weekend. So I was running around being a social nerd. But from what I did see and from what I heard about, I think Thorzane's win is very, very cool. I was very excited to hear about that, especially beating someone like Pole. That's just that's awesome. And I still think Thorzane is underrated, even though a lot of people consider him one of the top foreigners. I actually think that when he is practicing a lot, I think he's as good as pretty much any Korean Terran outside of like Marine King.
Yep.
So that was really, really cool to watch. And he is a fast player, but he's just honestly one of the smartest StarCraft 2 players out there right now. Just the way he approaches every matchup, like all the decisions he makes in game, it's very rare that you see Thorzane make mistakes like ever in a game.
Yep.
Which is just really, really exciting to watch for me. But yeah, and then MLG, MLG is just turning into the Marine King versus Donnery Goose show match series, apparently.
Yeah.
That's kind of what MLG has become. And DRG finally took out MKP Man-Made. That rivalry is getting a little bit heated, and DRG had been losing every series, so it was nice to see him come back and kind of take out Marine King there.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't actually get to watch much of DreamHack because that's sort of on at a semi sort of annoying time for me. That's kind of when I'm in bed. But I watched a little bit of it. And of course MLG I also watched most of. I didn't get to watch any today because of course it's Monday here and I was at work. But yeah, there were some really good games there. I hope everyone got to see much of that as they could. One little thing that I want to bring to the attention of everyone is something that I'm going to put on the stream here. You might want to jump on the stream if you're not already, and have a look at this from Sase against Hyun, which is from DreamHack. You can find all of the DreamHack VODs just over here on this Reddit thread. This is what I was going nuts about in Skype last night. We'll just sort of hang on. Let me see if I can just sort of speed it up a little bit. All right, so we've got Sase versus Hyun on Ohana, and as we can see, we've got Hyun up the top, Sase down the bottom. Come on, get to the good bit. Hope you guys can see all of this. All right, so. This is the second pylon, because the first one is already in the main. So he hasn't even walled off at all. He didn't even wall off at the at the top of the ramp. He didn't wall off, to me, that pylon down at the natural is not in the right spot either for actually walling off, because as you can see here, the pylon radius isn't close enough. What does he do then? Forge. What does he do then? Gas. Whoa.
Hmm.
So
Oh.
this is actually very interesting, and everyone, make sure you go and watch this VOD because it was very crazy to see. It's actually a little bit of a version of that sort of cyber before core, except he's just done it in a very weird way. And in the end, it wasn't actually that. Wait, cyber before core. I mean, third before core. Um,
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's then rallying the probes onto the gas, so that he gets it up in time, and then builds two gates, and sort of then finally properly walls off the natural expand. Meanwhile, he's blocked off the natural of Hyun, so he's had to expand across to the third, as you could see here from who was commentating this. I think it was Apollo and Wolf. Finally takes the natural. Meanwhile, Sase is just doing his Sase thing, and then sort of we'll just skip ahead
This,
here.
yeah, this build is so saucy, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's very weird. I'm honestly questioning whether or not him making that pylon in his main was a mistake. Like, I think he was like just zoned out, and because he didn't need it, like he went up to 14 out of 26 supply or 16 out of 26 supply. Like he
Yep.
did not need it yet.
No, that's
And,
true. That's true.
yeah, so I'm not sure.
And so he's got +1 weapons on the way. We've got Zealots coming out. He's going to have four in just a moment. Um, Meanwhile, the natural's going up, as you do. We still... do we have the cyber? Yeah, we've got the cyber finally. And then he does this... It was really weird. He does this push here, and this is the part where it got extra weird, because Hyun's like... I seriously think as one of the... I suppose you could say he's one of the newer players to the scene. He's like, what is going on here? There's 4 zealots in my third with +1, and then he says, you know what, I'm gonna go for it, and sends all the lings at these zealots. Sase with some beautiful control, keeping some of these zealots really low HP, but still alive, keeps them up, and then says, you know what, it's time for a double Stargate. So he's now got a double Stargate on the way.
I remember Kiwikaki doing something like really similar to this back in the day. Not quite like this. He was going for more standard Forge first, or Nexus, and then would double gate,
Yep.
and then go double Stargate. But yeah, this is so weird, man. So weird. But again, it's one of those builds where you're just trying to hit like a really weird timing attack against standard play. And I don't necessarily think that's like the best way to approach matchups, but it's cool. It can get you some wins until it sort of gets figured out a little bit.
Yep. Now, the thing which Apollo and Wolf are ranting on about right now is that he's skipped Void Rays. He's not going for Void Rays. We're going double Phoenix. And the reasoning for that is because Sase is forced, as we just saw then, he's forced like a bajillion lings. There's still a heap of them on the map, which means there's a lot less drones, and also means that some of the general sort of resource gathering was a little bit slow there for Hyun. And now there's 4 Phoenix out on the map, and there's going to be more in just a second as well. So he pushes up, and effectively there's only 3 Queens, because a lot of the minerals went into building the drones that should have been there a lot earlier. They went into building a lot of lings to defend against the zealots. And now, because there's only a very small amount of queens, he's got like no real defense against these Phoenix. It was just really awesome to watch.
Yeah, and I actually really like the decision to go Phoenix. Void Rays are so expensive that when you're making those, you basically have to win the game with them as a follow-up here. You're not going to be able to take a third, really. You're not going to be able to... you're not really even going to be able to afford to expand. And once the Void Rays get dealt with, they're not very good late game. So, if you go, like, Kiwikaki would do, like, a 6 Void Ray push with this, with just, like, a ton of Zealots and go try to win the game, but this is a much cooler, like, harass style, and he'll probably probably wants to just take a quick third after it.
Yeah, the interesting part about this was that eventually it sort of turned into... if I remember correctly, this actually became mutas a lot later on, and I was like, Hyun, why would you get mutas when you've seen all these Phoenix early on? But after a while, there was some interesting battles here with these Phoenix and a bunch of Hydras, as we can see here, and yeah, that got a little bit messy for those Phoenix. So that's when he switched into that. And I was just a little bit surprised. Like, while you have killed, like you killed maybe 4 or 5 of those Phoenix there, but there's still the potential for a bunch more to pop out. I don't know. Anyway. That's as you can see here, that is over on the DreamHack TV stream, and as I linked in the chat, you can grab all the VODs. They're all separated quite nicely there by the folks over at Reddit, and of course you can jump on there and have a look at those in time. Meanwhile, that'll be the show for now. Have you got any shout-outs or anything upcoming that you wanted to talk about or whatever?
Nah, man. Just thanks for having me on again. I really like doing the show. I love talking about StarCraft. So if you guys, anyone watching wants to follow me on Twitter, it's over there at MLG_Omerta. But other than that, thanks Duck for having me on, and thanks for watching.
No problems, and of course you can catch me on at DUCKVILLELOL, youtube.com/DUCKVILLELOL, and also everyone jump on the Facebook. I think I've got like 99 likes right now, so if you can go on and like my Facebook, it's facebook.com/DuckVilleLolSC2. That would be pretty sweet. We're going to be running some competitions soon through the Facebook page mainly, also Twitter, but mainly the Facebook page. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully we'll have someone who knows stuff about TvT on next time. If he invents power, maybe you should maybe we should make a hydro dam for him or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.